Disclaimer: everything discussed in this stream is alleged. Everything is based on our opinions. Please do your own research.
Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday. Look who we have here with us. We have the beautiful Shawnee. How are you doing this week?
I'm actually doing really good.
Good. You look
Getting ready
gorgeous.
for another craft show this weekend. Well, it's Kids and Cars in the Park. So it's like a community building event.
Oh, fun.
It's
Good.
going to be really fun. I loved it last year. I was in the pinup contest last year, but I didn't do it this year.
Oh, you didn't do it this year?
No, I really want to focus on my candles and stuff because I was putting a lot of that off for a while because of personal issues, but those personal issues are gone and my life's a lot better.
Good. Yeah, you look like you lost, what, like 200, 250 pounds?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I lost a whole cow. Izzy,
Holy
will you
shit.
grab me one of my waters, please?
Good for you. Okay, so without further ado, we have a special guest tonight, which is a longtime friend of mine. Hello, tiny human. Longtime friend of mine, met through the 2020 bullshit. He is from across the pond. So right now it's like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my based UK friend, and we've invited him on today because one of our topics is Mark Carney, our prime minister, and my friend Kizza, bringing him on. He lived through Mark Carney as his governor of banks.
Governor of the Bank of England.
Governor of the Bank of England.
After he left being governor of the Bank of Canada.
Right. Yeah. So we had him through Harper, and he pulled a bunch of shenanigans there. And then because of the shenanigans that he pulled, I guess somebody got an eye for him and sent him over to the UK.
Wow, I mean, considering the trash Tory party, well, coalition government at the time.
Yeah.
He brought him in and he literally left practically just before literally at the point of the COVID lockdown. So, yeah, I'm not a fan of him considering how he shafted my currency. As well as recent details coming out what he did to his own child. Well, he's grateful I am not the king, because if I was, how can I put this in the most poetic way possible that is YouTube safe?
Yeah, it's the first 3 minutes, so keep it YouTube safe.
Let's see here. I'll tell you what, ladies, have you seen those old steam engines from the Industrial Revolution?
Oh, yeah.
Those giant piston ones.
Yep.
How can I put this in the most YouTube safe way possible? Imagine one of those in a public display in the type of minority affection corners of the internet, involving that most people associate with lots of leather and very questionable psychological types of females.
So were there ball gags?
Well, you could argue potentially yes. But imagine one of those machines creating a new channel tunnel on the thermal exhaust port of Mark Carney and everyone like him.
Okay. Yeah. And so you mentioned earlier that Carney was a big fan of Tavistock.
Yes, he happily sent his own child through the Tavistock clinic to do various disgusting medical abomination experiments, which only came out recently.
Yeah, and Tavistock is closed now. It got shut down, didn't it?
Yeah, eventually got closed down thanks to multiple reviews of violating various safety protocols, among other things. But quite frankly, those types of medical institution, as far as I'm concerned, should not exist, especially considering the entire premise of these clinics is based on effectively a debunked idea from a notorious how can I put this in YouTube safe terms? Notorious New Zealand's psychologist criminal.
Yes. So we have a saying here that I stole from somewhere else, but it's Weimar problems.
Yes, Weimar problems. And then some would say they require
Weimar solutions.
Yeah, but as I try and educate people, the Weimar Republic came about because the Americans thought it would be a good idea to turn Germany into a republic. Yeah, I'm just going to say this right now. Yanks, republicanism consistently makes countries worse. Sorry to break this to you guys, but
Yeah.
republics make countries worse. Germany's a prime example. France is a prime example. Iran is a prime example. I mean, how many more examples do you need?
Well, I mean, the only good republic is the original one, and it's
What,
hanging
Greece?
on by a thread right now, right, Shawnee? You live in
Yeah.
Minnesota. She understands what it's like to live in Minnesota.
Yeah, for the
New
most part.
neighbors. With her new neighbors and dealing with stuff in the schools that are fairly Tavistocky.
Right now, everybody is having a temper tantrum about the Minnesota Vikings and their new male cheerleading captains.
Right.
And I'm like, can you please shut the fuck up? Like,
Yeah.
seriously, we've had male cheerleaders in I have a picture with fucking male cheerleaders from the Minnesota Vikings. Like, who gives a fuck? You choose to bring your kids to that, and then they're trying to like mix mash it with like drag queen story hour and all that. And I'm like, those are two completely different things. I mean, they're on the same wavelength, but they're completely different. You're going to buy tickets to bring a kid to a football game, and there's two gay cheerleaders or male cheerleaders. That's your choice. Football's fucking stupid anyway. And the Vikings have never even won a Super Bowl.
Well, it got everyone talking about the Minnesota Vikings.
Well, yeah, but what else? The thing I'm afraid of while everybody's fucking being a bunch of retards is what's happening. What's happening behind the scenes that nobody's paying attention to because everybody wants to argue about Viking male cheerleaders.
Yep. So, yeah, because I know up here, there's a lot of celebration about the fact that there's a male cheerleader. But like when I was a kid going to school, my high school had like a
pep squad,
cheer squad or a pep squad. And there were boys that were a part of that. And there were boys that were like the
yelled in the horns and
yeah, like the ones that caught and chucked the girls. And there was always the very slight young man that was, a little light in the loafers, and he had the pom-poms and stuff. So it's been around forever. So people tend to attach themselves to these sorts of things when they're told to, almost.
Exactly.
What do you think, resident man on the stream?
Well, on that subject, I hate to be that guy, but it is women's fault.
I blame feminism.
Yeah, we blame feminism for pretty much everything with the downfall of Western society.
Yeah, well, to Shawnee, has Holly here told you how anti-feminist I am?
Almost as much as me.
No. I am far worse in terms of the anti. No, I'm far worse. Like,
okay,
if I happen to be the crown, I would take what Her Royal Majesty Queen Victoria said, but supercharge it to 11.
Okay, what did she say?
I have to quote. I'd want to make sure I don't misquote it.
You don't want to misquote the Queen.
Yes. I am most anxious to enlist everyone who can speak or write to check this mad, wicked folly of women's rights, with all its attendant horrors of which a poor people's sex is bent, forgetting every sense of womanly feelings and propriety. Feminists ought to get a good whipping. Were women to unsex themselves by claiming equality with men, they would become the most hateful, heathen, and disgusting of beings and would surely perish without male protection. And that right there is the words of the most powerful woman in recorded history. She said that back in 1870.
Yeah, she saw it coming. We had a
Yeah,
little bit of a history throwback on, I think it was our last stream. Were you on the last stream, Shawnee, when we talked about the origins of feminine? We had a We Love Men stream.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
I left early.
yeah, that was the one you had to peace out early for. But yeah, we talked about the origins of feminism and how it's just it's a mind virus that
it's just gendered Marxism. That's all it is.
100%. It's gendered Marxism. And
Ye-
it's the taking the class battle or taking the race battle and making it the gender battle. And the gender battle has been the most effective in dividing our society and pitching us against each other. So so I do want to
Looks
Yeah.
like
honor
we
the
have
fact.
a king in the chat
Yeah, we've got the king and the emperor.
and an
Jesus Christ.
emperor.
Yeah. A few of these
This
I know.
cake cult is getting pretty lit.
This cake cult is getting lit. So I want to acknowledge the fact that our friend Chantal, no, Rocky, she is not here with us today. So we do have to honor her in memory.
Cover
our
your
friend
eyes,
Rocky.
men.
Cover your eyes.
That's from this week's WNBA games.
Where's Johnny? Where is it? Is it playing? Oh, I don't see it. That's not fair.
So, Johnny, you can see that?
No, it
Oh,
didn't. I
was
see
W-
nothing. I was just staring at you guys.
Oh, it
That
was
was
the
weird.
WNBA, just a bunch of dildos being checked around. AI, it was
I
pretty
could watch it fine.
Oh,
pretty spicy. Yeah, so all of the newcomers to our stream, that's the kind of entertainment that you are in store for this evening because we are the Real Housewives of Alberta. I just want to say hi to everybody who is coming in here. So we've got our salty Australian. Hello. Kat, welcome. Dieter, yeah, fuck football. So he agrees with our American here. Captain Kaiser, apparently our mics were fucked, but later he was playing both streams. And then Baldwin II, King of Jerusalem, is here. Hello, welcome. Well, we've got a lot of royalty in the.
Well, what do you expect from the Supreme Emperor?
That's true, and I did expect. That's why I wore my nice
oh my
T-shirt.
gosh, Holly, we have an emperor now.
Yeah, we have an emperor of
Not just any emperor, the Supreme Emperor.
the Supreme Emperor.
That is my preferred gendered pronoun, which I use against all the pronoun twats.
Nice.
Don't want to play the pronoun game? That's fine.
We will play the pronoun game. So let's get into our first topic.
Yes.
So our first topic tonight, this is something that I guess was just broken today or maybe yesterday. I'm so behind because I have a full-time job. But in Las Vegas, there was a huge pedophile bust that happened. And I'll play this here. This is one of my favorite creators. He's probably a psyop, but whatever. Play this one for you.
Yeah, I would never unalive myself. I'll just say that before I post this video. This is the real shit. And this is why they don't want you talking about Epstein. They don't like that. That's why I'm shadow banned. That's why my last account got fucking shut down on TikTok with 106,000 followers. That's why I got feds in my inbox fucking trying to coerce me into saying some dumb shit. Fuck y'all. Massive undercover operation has exposed multiple SEX offenders on children. Okay? Las Vegas. This happened today. I want you to take notice of that second name there. Tommy Boy, okay? You want to know who that guy is? The executive director at the Israeli National Cyber Directorate. Oh, so you're the guy. So I got a pedo who's been censoring my shit. I love this fucking world we're living in. By the way, take note of who he works for. This guy worked directly under you know fucking who. What the fuck?
So yeah, that guy was arrested. He was immediately escorted back to Israel for refuge, and no charges were laid, even though he was caught as a pedophile in a pedophile ring in Vegas.
Don't they all run away to Tel Aviv?
Pretty much. There's been a
Free
long-standing
pedo pass.
free pedo pass to Israel, and it's been since Israel became
But we
country.
want to keep fucking
Zelensky.
handing checks out to our allies,
Oh, yeah.
our fucking greatest allies. And where's fucking Trump on this shit? So you gonna say something about that?
Oh, of course not. Of course not.
Fuck.
I think
Always the
getting
way.
back to the Carney topic, Carney came out in this last month and basically condemned Israel for their acts since October 7th, saying that there's a literal genocide, blah, 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 and how they support the children of Gaza. And that pleased the foaming at the mouth blue hair weirdos that live up here, that our prime minister is supporting, I guess not supporting, but against the genocide in Gaza. But then on the same breath, meets with leaders from Israel and gives more of our money to Israel out of the other side of his mouth. So is that a typical Mark Carney move, Kizza?
I would definitely say so, because as we all know, if you don't support the state of Israel, you're just a raging anti-Semite and no different to the swastika-loving National Socialists from yesteryear. But personally, I will just say this right now: the creation of the state of Israel was a mistake. Whoever it was who signed their agreement with the Rothschilds should never agree to such terms, quite frankly. And it's our own biggest curse that we are so honorable with honoring treaties and agreements, even if it's to our own detriment. There's a reason why the longest standing treaty today involves us, which is our treaty with the Portuguese, which goes back, if memory serves, around 800 years.
Okay.
So yeah.
What was
Weren't there a lot of Nazis that went that way after the war?
Venezuela?
No, it's Argentina. Argentina
Argentina.
is the most common vocal point, which especially supposedly the main hotspot was Buenos Aires, the capital of Argentina, which was nicknamed the Paris of South America.
And the architecture there and the food and everything was heavily inspired by German culture. And apparently that's where the head honcho, Mr. Funny Mustache Man himself, escaped to and lived there for many years. And that's been a conspiracy theory forever.
Yeah, there's also one, though, that they think he was a Rothschild.
Yeah, I've heard there's lots of
bastard child of a Rothschild.
I mean, there's lots of question marks with that. In fact, there's even question marks about the Rothschild secretly infecting their genetic lineage into the royal family after Queen Victoria
Yes.
because of the Battle of Waterloo Road with the Duke of Wellington against Napoleon, supposedly. But
Right.
but that's going down one hell of a rabbit hole that I don't think most people here today were expecting.
No. And that we only have 2 hours.
Exactly.
Sorry, squirrel.
Yeah, squirrel.
That's right.
So I've got another video here about the pedo ring that was busted. This is one that I found really interesting because nobody in the mainstream media is talking about this, and I wonder why.
This is huge. This is a massive story. Record this, download this. This is a potentially dangerous story for me.
Sorry, that's the wrong one. That's about the energy that set off the flood in Texas.
Oh,
But the same girl goes on about the pedo ring and how it's not being talked about in mainstream media. And the only people that are talking about are us internet weirdos, that the fact that this pedo ring was busted and this guy was chief of cybersecurity. Now, it's
it just fucking kills me.
I know, like I'm speechless. It's like, really? It's
not.
in your face.
I'm not, to be honest. I mean, the Texas flooding as well. I remember when the first thing came off all them weeks ago, I instantly said, "No way, that was natural. That was blatant of a result of cloud seeding."
Oh yeah.
I called it straight away, and a few people were like, "Nah, that can't be cloud seeding." It's like, how else do you explain a drastic increase in the volume of water that short of a distance through natural means, considering that part of the world is not known for monsoon rain?
It just surprise climate change.
Yeah, and anyone talks about cloud seeding, yeah, it's been known about since the Vietnam War, since it was literally developed as a weapon of war against the Vietnamese, as well as neighboring countries regarding protesting. They literally used to cause flash floods and loads of raining in neighboring states to ward off protesters.
I'm starting to wonder about the Canadian fire smoke because I find it odd that like it'll be smoky and hazy for like a day and then all of a sudden like everything's clear the next morning and you're just kind of like, word, okay, well, and then all of a sudden it's smoky and hazy again for like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, we're just slowly trying to poison you.
Oh, definitely.
That's a topic that we're going to cover tonight as well too.
Oh, sorry, I'm jumping the gun.
No, it's okay. It's good because we're all in the same mindset, right? Because you're living in it, right? The Western Canada is not on fire right now because, speaking of cloud seeding, weather modification happened during the time that the G7 was here in Alberta. We had a beautiful, dry, sunny, warm spring when the G7 was here. And it was very interesting because there were certain long, skinny clouds that were not in the sky during the period prior to and of the G7. And when the guests were still here, and then when they left. So that led to an incredibly wet July, one of the wettest Julys on record. Unsurmountable. Like we've never seen rain like that here in Alberta. Usually by July we're fairly dry, fairly hot, but because of that, we have very few wildfires in Alberta. And you remember, Shawnee, like last year when we were talking about the wildfires in Alberta and all the ones that were intentionally set, firefighters that were arrested for arson, protest groups up in Edmonton that were caught on camera setting fires, people being charged with arson to such a degree where it was just like, really, fuck, like, okay, maybe a couple started in the mountains with the lightning, which always happens, nature, but this year, nothing. Our skies are blue and wonderful, but those long, skinny
Washington's on
clouds
fire
started
over
up
there by
again. So,
Canada.
what's that?
Washington
Washington
State?
State? Yep.
Yeah, that's on fire over there by Canada.
Yeah. That's just south of BC, British Columbia.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're north of like Idaho, Montana.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Oh, you guys need to come see me.
Yes, I know we talk about that every stream, how we need to come down and visit. And it's so funny. People think there's like, oh, like just go across the border. No, this is like a 40-hour drive. We're on the other side of the continent.
It's only 23 hours from here to my friend in Washington State.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't understand how huge America and Canada truly are unless you have to drive from place to
Canada's
place.
fucking huge.
I agree. Like, there's the old joke, 100 miles is a long way away in Britain, but 100 years is a long time in America.
Yep.
Like I know people jokingly say, like, in America you could be driving like 8 hours plus and still be in the same state. If I drive 8 hours straight, I could be in Central Europe easy.
Oh yeah, you could have gone through like 4 countries.
Hell, if I really wanted to go for it, I could go for about 8. If I'm how can I put this politely? If I were to try and do the equivalent of a cannonball run through Europe, if you know about the cannonball run. And well, there was one crazy such and such who did it from the top of Scotland to Land's End in Cornwall, and he beat the recommended Google time. He did it in 60% of the time the Google recommended time stated. And this was going through numerous average speed camera controls, which is very impressive. And he was arrested, but the judge threw the case away.
Right.
Which people speculated he was secretly a fan of the guy who pulled off the run.
That surprises me because your judges over there seem to be very fair. And there's no such thing as a 2-tier system over there. They treat everyone equally, regardless of skin color or religious background.
To be fair, this lawsuit happened before the Starmer government. This lawsuit was happening during the pandemic, where, especially considering it was delayed for over 2 years, I think, to be honest, it was just a classic case of a judge just wanting to just get rid of it. Just get rid of it and go on, like a lot of things when things started to reopen up. Like a lot of people was just basically, as I like to call it, just stamping without looking.
Right.
You know, pulling the if I were to use a meme example, just doing the classic knuckles, approved, and just stamping away. Just stamp, approved, gone.
Just gone.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. So in Canada, I'm sure all the Canadians that are in here know, Carney was elected, it feels like years ago, but very short ago. And we still don't have a budget, which was supposed to be tabled right after he was elected. So our country right now is running on the Trudeau-esque policy of, I don't think very much about monetary policy, and the budgets tend to balance themselves. So he was the governor of the Bank of England. He was the governor of the Bank of Canada. He's now the Prime Minister of Canada, and we don't have a business plan for the Corporation of Canada. We're just
winging it.
We're just winging it. Oh yeah, sorry. I stand corrected. Selected.
Yes, technically, because yeah.
Yep. So trade war happening right now, elbows up. People, they all voted for this guy because they thought he was going to be tough on Mango, Mussolini, Orange Man bad down in the States, and he was going to be the best one, and Polyev was never, ever, ever going to be good because he was a literal Nazi and the whole thing. So we elected Carney. And now our tariffs with the US are 10% worse than they were under Trudeau. Yay.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Can I just say, this is why democracy is a terrible system. There's a reason why it failed in Greece.
This is why women shouldn't vote.
Oh, no. I'll go one better. This is why people shouldn't vote, full stop.
Mm.
When people talk about in America, they want to repeal the 19th. No, I want to repeal universal suffrage as a concept.
Mm.
Scrap it completely. So yeah, to certain red pillars out there, get on my level. No voting rights.
Oh yeah, Shawnee, I don't know if Supreme Emperor Kizza has he is a monarchist extreme. He's an emperorist.
No. I support absolute monarchy.
Absolute monarchy.
Screw constitutional, screw elective, absolute monarchy. Nothing else. I know that's blasphemous to a lot of people across the pond, but
I've never experienced it myself, but I mean, it like anything's got to be better than what we got.
I know.
It's a joke.
Okay, consider this. What is politics notorious for?
Corruption?
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say
Wastage?
lies. Well, I was going to say lies and deception.
Pedophilia?
Okay,
Drug
that's
use?
true. Okay, yeah, yep. But I was going to say lies and deception, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
But absolute monarchy is the only honest system of government that exists. Because you know exactly who the monarch is, and you know exactly that they have absolute authority. So you're already starting off with honesty to begin with.
Hmm.
Whereas every other system is by default a game of deception. Oh, what's that? You have a constitutional monarchy? Cool. What does the Constitution say? We don't know. Oh, what's that? You're a representative republic? Do tell us all how the public are actually represented and your politicians ain't all brought up by the donor class. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's democratic atrophy, right? So as a democracy or a republic can start out as a good thing, but then as it starts to entropy into crony capitalism, then the money owns everything and it becomes oligarchic dictatorship easily. Both democratic societies and republics. It's the money.
Well, people like to say that, but Greece demonstrated with the iron law of oligarchy, it doesn't matter how democratic something starts off with, it will naturally become undemocratic as time goes on. So the way I see it is, if you want to avoid an oligarchy, why not just go with the absolute monarchical system? Because if you're worried about power, well, the person is already starting with absolute power. They can't get any more. The only thing they have left with is to lose power. It's just going to be a sliding down the trope of reduction of power. So the way I see it is every government system consistently tries to increase their power and influence. So the way I see it is, let's start where you have absolute power, and let's just see what happens there.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you have in a monarch society, if you have a kind and just king, you have an extremely prosperous and happy citizenry.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
Everyone's taken care of. The problem with a monarchy that I see is that only lasts maybe 1 or 2 generations, just like generational wealth, because you can have that kind and just king. Their kid will be raised in that and know how to rule. The grandchild of that king always becomes corrupt, sometimes inbred, and then you end up with an evil and cruel king that craves power and money. So what system is the best system when it comes to humankind?
Well, here's the thing. Practically throughout our entire history, we've always relied on effectively monarchical structures. It
Mhm.
doesn't matter what it is. Look
Mhm.
at the family unit. The father and mother are king and queen of the household to the children who are the subjects in this
Mhm.
analogy. It's the best system for raising children. We see this in the private sector. Overwhelmingly, it's a monarchical system where you have the CEO, who technically is king of the company. Now, a lot of oopsie, someone's not happy. Major corporations nowadays embrace effectively an oligarchical system with the board of directors, where they embrace effectively stakeholder capitalism in a sense, but the workers don't technically get a say. It's all the shareholders who technically get the say. You could see it as a stakeholder capitalism, or you could argue it's the royal council having votes with the monarch. So effectively, everything about our world is built around monarchy. The way I see it is, why are we actively promoting systems which are effectively against our evolutionary psychology?
Right. So what you're speaking of is monarchy that's based on a religious doctrine and belief, where God is the ultimate. The king answers to God, just as
Yeah,
the father does in a household.
exactly. Well, and also not just that, especially for those who are Christians who are listening to this right now or listening afterwards.
Mhm.
An uncomfortable detail I notice with a lot of Americans is Christianity is an it actually endorses absolute monarchy because God is the ultimate
The king.
authority.
Yeah, he's the king
Is
of kings. It says it in
Yeah,
his book,
no,
right?
not a
exactly.
Christian. I don't
Yeah.
believe that. I think
Or,
we
No,
should
no,
all
or
go
I'm
back
saying
to our roots before we got infected with Christianity.
Mhm.
well, Johnny, I'm just saying specifically for the Christians those who are among us, God is the purest example of an absolute monarch. All the subjects wish to enter the kingdom of heaven. It's not a republic. You will not find the word republic anywhere in the Bible. You will not find it anywhere in the Bible.
And I just want to say a quick hello with Femikazi's here. Hello,
Welcome.
Messerschmidt. You're late.
Welcome. But
Better
yes,
late than never.
and also quite frankly, what's also makes me laugh as well is when you talk about representation. I hear this a lot with they always complain, oh, what if a king becomes tyrannical and corrupt? And I just say,
Mhm.
every complaint I hear about tyranny and corruption from anti-monarchical sentiments,
Mhm.
everything they say is more true with the system that they endorse with republics than the monarchical system, because there in its core tenets of a monarchy, the king is incentivized to make his kingdom prosperous because his wealth, well, I shouldn't say this in specific gendered language because technically it's neutral, but the monarch's main incentive is to produce prosperity and safety for the kingdom because their wealth is tied directly. Oops, someone's not happy. Uh, the prosperity is tied directly to the land within the kingdom itself. If their kingdom's in an economic recession, the monarch becomes poorer. Whereas with all representative systems, various republics of their kind, the politician's wealth is not connected to the nation. Their wealth is separate. Their country could have the worst financial crisis. They could have effectively the same as the Great Depression, but their finances will only will consistently increase, while the general public are becoming even more poor as the day goes on. So that's the major difference. And also another reason why I prefer the monarchical structure: if a king becomes too much of a reckless tyrant, the public will get rid of him. Either the public does, or one of his own within his circle will take care of it. Because there is multiple examples of history of family members taking out the monarch, the
Yeah.
chief knights taking out the monarchs.
All
Yeah,
kinds of that backstabbing going on.
yeah,
Mm.
we have
throughout
multiple
history.
examples of this. We have
Yep.
multiple examples of history. Now, let's be frank here. When it comes to Republican example, how many so-called tyrannical Republicans, you think of the dictators of the last 20th century, how many of them were taken out by people within their own cabinet.
We got Hillary Clinton. Well, she's not a Republican. That was
Well, technically,
takes out others.
every politician in America is a Republican by definition.
Because
I
they
know that-
represent a republic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like it would be hilarious if America somehow elected a monarchist as the president, because that would be really, really funny.
I don't know if that'll ever happen, because as soon as in the U.S. you mention monarchy, the USians lose their mind.
Well, what's funny is, Holly's, those who looked into the founding fathers, here's the funny thing.
Mhm.
They were actually heavily considering monarchy. The biggest cheerleader for it was Alexander Hamilton.
Correct. Yeah, but
And what
was-
I will say is,
Washington said absolutely not. He would not be a king.
well, here's the thing. He didn't want to, because he by the sounds of it, he just wanted to retire.
Yes.
But what's funny is that he was only in his like mid-late 30s when he became president.
Mhm.
So in terms of the general scope of politics, he was a young man. In the general scope of politics, he was a young man.
Yep.
I'm like, retire at like, in your late 30s, like that's a pipe dream to retire in your late 30s. For the average person, even people who are quite well off, they don't retire in their 30s unless they get one hell of a paycheck.
Or win the lottery.
Yeah, well, even if
Yeah.
you win the lottery, that don't mean jack, because I'm not sure how it is over there, but
Mhm.
over here, practically every single person who was poor who won the lottery ended up back to where they were within a 10-year lifespan.
Well, that's
Guaranteed.
a socioeconomic discussion of behaviors when it comes to monetary practices. So I do have, speaking of money, I have this little treat here for you about the Canadian economy.
Is it the
Well, since
dollar
Mark Carney
crap?
can't fucking negotiate a pine cone off a fucking pine tree, apparently he shifted his whole idea that we just need to buy Canadian. But the
Oh,
problem
why
is,
can't
when
I
you're taxed
see
as high
it?
as we are as Canadians, it doesn't work. Let me show you. So as an average Canadian, you make $100. But before you can spend it, the government gets their fucking greasy hands on it and taxes you on average at 42%, changing this into this, $58. So you take your $58, you go over to a small business owner and you give them the 58. Let's pretend they have no fucking overhead, so they get to keep the full $58 and no GST on their business. Before they can spend it, that $58 turns into $33 and change. So this whole mathematical equation of just fucking buy Canadian, it doesn't work when you're taxed at the rate that we're taxed at. How long is it going to take before that $100 is completely in the hands of the government? Not very long. So buying Canadian, it may work in the short term. But the reality is all it does is funnel the money to the people at the top, like a pyramid scheme. If I'm a business owner and I only sell my product to my employees, eventually what happens is the employees, in this situation, the Canadian taxpayers, go broke. And the people at the top receive all the funds until everything crashes, empowering the government while disempowering the people. If we do not get investors here in Canada, if we do not produce value for the rest of the world, and we just sit on our fucking hands and leave dipshits in charge, we're fucked. It's simple math, and if you can't do the math, I've got nothing for you.
Yeah, I would dare argue if you can't do basic maths, you should not have any position in power. But that's just me.
Well, I mean, Trudeau said budgets will balance themselves, and he doesn't think very much about monetary policy, and he won because he has nice hair and cool socks.
Yeah, Tammy Trudeau. So Tammy Trudeau, if you have 206 bones, but I remove 8 of them, how long do you have left to live?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and people, it's really interesting up here in Canada, the pro Canadian love your government, we have to pay taxes because who will build the roads type of people. They don't understand that when we say, like in Canada, we're taxed basically 70 cents on the dollar. Now, yes, you're only paying 30 cents income tax, or 30% income tax, or up to 40, depending on how much money you make a year. But there's all the additional taxes and tariffs and fees and all that stuff that eat away at your income, to the point where less than half of what you're making
Yep.
It just disappears.
But a lot of people don't understand the compound aspect. Like I know this with my
Mm.
country, thanks to my current government, we've seen a massive exporting of highly economically prosperous individuals leaving the
Mhm.
country at massive ways that are not seen since the 1970s.
Mhm.
And all everyone keeps talking about is the classic tax the rich, tax the bloody rich. I'm just like, this, especially with the just current pushed freaking propaganda, scary economics. Honestly, I love it when a lot of times you try and push his sales pitch. I'm just like, bro, people have done background checks on you. You're ultimately a proven liar, and also everything you say is utterly debunked by basic economics. So just zip it, boy. Okay, just zip it.
Well,
Right?
Keir Starmer had actually a really good idea on how to fight climate change.
Was it more climate taxes?
No, it's if you delete your old emails and pictures, you'll save water during the drought.
Ollie, you're giving me even more ammunition to why I should be the undisputed king of my country.
Right? Simple everyday choices such as turning off tap or deleting old emails also help the collective effort to reduce demand and help preserve the health of our rivers and wildlife. The Environment Agency's Director of Water says, Helen Wakeman.
How do those two things even go together?
Because they say.
Because magic. It's magic. Ooh.
1 + 1 is 4.
Yep. So I don't even want to read the article because this is too retarded.
The fucking title of it is just like, I feel like I lost IQ points reading that.
I know, it's a big sigh.
And again, people say to me, Kizza, monarchy's a bad idea. I'm just like, this is the crap that people vote for.
Yep.
Okay? This is what the people vote for. Okay? I'm done. Okay? I'm just done listening to these people. I'm done. Every argument you have, just that one headline. But like, just remember, millions of people voted for this guy.
Yes.
You voted for this.
Yeah, millions of people voted for Carney.
Yeah.
But did they really vote?
No.
There are people that legitimately did vote happily and advertised it to the world that they voted for this shit.
Yes, and again, thank you.
Yes,
Holly.
this is Russell Brand that's on with us today. He's just hiding.
I am not Russell Brand. How dare you? I'm not a ex-junkie degenerate who has
His accent is way better than Russell Brand's.
Well, yeah, and also I'm not a relentlessly hypocritical shitlib who quote unquote woke up with the COVID lockdowns.
Isn't he with a Rothschild?
He was.
I don't know. I don't know who. Well, I know he's dating somebody connected to like some major billionaire. Maybe dating someone who's like a CEO of like JP Morgan or something. I forget the exact what it was.
Yeah, it was a higher up, very connected, a young lady.
Yeah. Trust fund women are the worst. Don't ever go near them. Not only are they extremely materialistic, they're also notorious of being excuse me. They are notorious of being highly promiscuous.
Yes.
Whores.
So
it's okay. You can say whores.
Yeah, you can say.
Yeah, but there might be children listening.
No,
I hope not.
I hope not. So, moving on to the next topic of things that suck. I wanted to bring this forward to our audience today because this situation that's panning out now with Air Canada, I'm sure all the Canadians know that the flight attendants and the QP union have gone on strike due to unpaid labor. They're demanding pay for unpaid labor. Now, they took their offer to the Air Canada representatives, including our Liberal government and part ownership of shares, Mr. Carney himself. The government offered the, I guess, standards and procedures of what they were willing to go forward with. And CUPE turned around and ripped it up and illegally, some say not, but went on strike. So this is a battle of unpaid labor versus the Liberal government. And these strikers, these flight attendants, are willing to face arrest or fines or losing their jobs because they've decided to walk away from this. And a lot of these people based out of Toronto voted for this representation that is no longer standing up for them. So how does that, like, I'm an anti-union person because I believe that unions have lived out their lives, but CUPE was very, very involved with Liberal elections and getting Liberal candidates and NDP candidates elected. So this flies in the face of everything. What do y'all think? And Messerschmitt, I'm on the side of CUPE for this.
I mean,
No comment.
I mean, all I got to say to this is, you voted for a comrade. This is what comrades do.
Mm-hmm.
Suck it up, people. Again, you voted for this.
Yeah. And this is
learn a little bit of accountability and responsibility.
And they're shocked. These people are utterly shocked. They're gobsmacked that the fact that the government, the Liberals, are not working with them and giving them the pay raise, or not even a pay raise, like unpaid hours paid, or negotiating at least, or coming to the table talking about it. So I don't know if you guys all know, but in the airline industry, a flight attendant is only paid for when the plane is moving.
Really?
Yes. So flight attendants, when they're boarding, when everyone's getting seated, when they're doing the little announcements, the mask thing, if the plane is not moving, they are not being paid. So think about when a plane is delayed and it sits at the gate for, 20 minutes, half an hour, sometimes, a couple hours.
Yeah.
Those flight attendants have to wait because they're still kind of on the clock for that flight. They're scheduled for that flight. But those hours that are delayed, they're not paid for those.
Yeah,
I kind of feel like that's bullshit.
Well, to be honest, there's some people who are paid certain jobs. They are paid basically on when they move, because when they're standing still, they're not getting paid.
Right.
And I will say, my work in my background, my God, if we were paid, if we weren't getting paid when we weren't moving, let's just say when there is holdups or breakdowns, they would have a complete reversible mentality when it comes to that, because we're always waiting for stuff to go wrong because we're getting paid regardless. That's just free money. But this system, my God, they have to be the most crankiest. There's a major delay. You're just going to be like, well, crap, I'm not getting paid. I might as well go home now.
Mm-hmm.
Half the time, especially if there's like a crazy delay, it's like 12 hours.
Right.
You might as well screw it. Go home, go to bed, wake up, then come to work.
Right.
At that point.
Yeah. So it was interesting because like I've had to rack my brains about this. Is like, how do I feel about this? Like, I'm anti-government. So of course I'm going to be against whatever Carney decides because I'm jaded like that. Until he comes up with a good idea. If he comes up with a good idea, cool, I'll agree with it. But I'm anti-union as well, because I believe unions are far too influential in Canada when it comes to our elections. And they're basically just another lobbyist group that pays out and influences the vote of their members.
Well, the thing is with... Sorry to interrupt, Polly,
I've seen unions do good things and unions do shitty things.
Yes, but in Canada, unions have become basically a lobbyist group.
Well, I mean, especially when the major unions are effectively attached to one political party. Like
Yes.
over here in Britain, practically all major trade unions you can think of are all attached to the hip to the Labour Party.
Mm.
But what makes it really comical is a lot of these unions want certain policies, which Starmer has for the most part implemented, but then those unions complain about the results of said policies, even though it's stuff that they advocated for. And now my position on unions is quite unique in a sense, is that when it comes to the private sector, I don't have issues with unions in principle. But when it comes to the public sector, I don't think public sector unions should even exist, with one exception being the fire department.
But the fire department that's not private. That's government run on tax
Yeah,
dollars.
you may have missed it. Yeah, I'm not sure if you heard me, Holly. I said when it comes to the public sector,
Mm.
I don't support public sector unions, excluding the fire department.
Oh, sorry, excluding. I thought you said including.
No, excluding the fire department, purely because I use this example with everyone. Raise your hands if you've ever had negative experiences with healthcare. Or in our case, it's the NHS. Okay, you raise your hands. Right, cool. Raise your hands if you had any negative interactions with the police.
Was it my fault?
No, I'm just saying negative actions. I don't know. Just think of any negative action you had to police, like disturbing you, like harassing you, whatnot. Don't matter what it is, right? Raise your hands, okay?
Not
I
really.
imagine most people have. Now, the final one. How many times can you say you've had an issue with the fire department? Raise your hands. Shocking. Holly has had one. But I imagine most people that's not the case. Almost unanimously, Holly, you're the exception to this. The fire department, almost nobody ever raises their hand when I ask that question. And I say, well, there you go. We all know full well the cancer of police unions, just like teachers unions and the medical industry unions. They specifically seem to be there to protect dodgy cops, crap teachers, and crap surgeons and doctors from being fired.
Yep, 100%.
And quite frankly, if we're talking about the teachers aspect, well, you know what? I actually am not against the idea that Thomas Sowell and co. actually hypothesized back many, many, many moons ago about just complete destruction of public education and just have it completely left to the private sector. I know that sounds blasphemous to most people, but I'm just like, well, you're not getting your tax dollars worth out of it, especially if you look at America.
Oh, we definitely aren't.
I mean, they always talk about budgeting, saying, oh, there isn't enough money for education, but by per capita rates, I'm pretty certain the United States spends the most in education. But the kids are coming out with subpar reading and arithmetic skills.
Some can't.
Yeah, that's why I did say subpar.
Yeah.
These teachers are quite often getting way too much money for what what they're doing, and quite frankly, which is still, I think, shocks people when you look into it. Children who are homeschooled by their parents with no teaching degrees score better in numerous testing aspects than kids in a comprehensive education system.
I've been noticing around here in Minnesota specifically, because I've researched the crap out of it, but I feel like there was a correlation with the decline in education when they started introducing more technology into the classroom. When we had books, kids had to go to the media center to research. They weren't using the internet for everything. They weren't doing their math on IXL, things like that. And it went down so badly. Like, I think kids in Minnesota in this specific science area, 63%, math, 36%, and reading, which, you need science and math, you have to be able to have comprehension and all of that. Reading, I believe, was at like a 46%. These kids are not, they're barely literate. They're not learning anything about handwriting. They're not learning how to do actual research papers. They're being given like pre-made YouTube videos or pre-made curricula that come from the state that is just horribly like it's nothing to learn about. Like they actually in science, I had a conversation with the science teacher and I'm like, if you think that Greta Thunberg or whatever the fuck you want to call her is a climate change I don't even know
Climate
what
change activist.
she's not even a scientist. She doesn't know jack shit but what a bunch of adults told her to say because she's a talking head. And you're telling my kid to recite like why you think she's a good climate change activist. Like that doesn't even make sense. I sent him links for suspicious observers.
Yeah, I mean, well, on the climate change subject, I always laugh at climate activists. They are nothing but watermelons as people. And quite frankly, I actually do have a very effective climate change policy if I were to become king. But apparently it violates the Geneva Convention.
Those are just Geneva suggestions.
Oh, so, yes, of course.
There's a comment here.
You mean as I should call it, the Geneva toilet paper.
Yeah, pretty much. So this comment here from Golden Pork Chop, welcome to the stream. Yes. So, and this is another peace of mind that I have, right? Like they chose that line of work to be a flight attendant, fully understanding that when the plane's not moving, you don't get paid. And they went through the training, they signed up, they signed all of the papers, they've worked for years in this line of work. But for some reason, the union has put into their heads that, you know, the whole socialist idea of, you know, the rights of the worker and they should, you know, be getting the fruits of their labor and all that stuff. And then the number one talking point is that Air Canada is an incredibly successful and very airline in Canada. Like they tout, you know, billions of dollars worth of profits. Their executives get incredible bonuses. So it's almost like that socialist idea has been whispered into their ears that, well, the CEO makes, you know, $1 million a year and gets $100,000 bonuses. Why shouldn't they? They're doing this. But yet that's something that they signed up for. And that's something that's been a part of being a flight attendant since the beginning of time. It's a part of regulations. It's a part of destination taxation. It's a part of all kinds of things in the airline industry of why they don't get paid. They're not on the clock when the plane is not moving.
Well, so sadly, sorry to interrupt, Polly, but like, this is
what? Wait, sorry. I'm actually, my wax is melted and I have to start doing my candles and stuff. So it was nice to meet you.
No way, Sean.
And you guys have a good night.
Yeah, bye, awesome. Thank you so much for stopping by.
I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Yeah, message later. I want to see pictures of the candles.
Okay.
Hey.
No worries. Full scented candle collection, I imagine.
She makes her own and she sells them. Okay. It's her little business. It's very interesting. I'm going to plug it again. It's Ironwood Candles.
Sure.
She's Ironwood Candles, Minnesota. If you guys are near Minnesota, she's at every craft fair ever. And she does have her own Facebook page where you can follow where she's going to be each weekend during the summer.
You know, I actually might know somebody who's from Minnesota who might be interested in such a product.
Oh yeah.
I'll have to get hold of them on Instagram for it. But yes, to be honest, this is another classic case of not willing to accept the consequences of their actions, because simply put, they actively chose willingly to sign a contract. They knew exactly the exact terms and conditions, but they don't wish to acknowledge the fact that they went into a situation that it wasn't on the best terms.
And it did involve unpaid labor. So In conclusion, the reason why this is all happening and is so fucked up is because feminism.
Well, I mean, I know everyone likes to blame feminism, but like,
Oh no, I blame them for this.
I know it's such an easy target to do, but it's just like, at what point are people like just? This is just a classic case of lack of accountability. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, this is jokingly why I kind of want the so-called brain trip that Elon was the Neuralink brain trip. I wish it has electroshock properties to it, kind of like
Right.
with the V trip with South Park with Carrot Cartman. Every time they do something stupid, they get electrocuted for it.
Right.
To basically teach them, with the best teacher in the world, Pain, what happens when you screw up. I know it
Yeah.
sounds extremely harsh, but at this point,
I can't get on board with that, because then who determines what's stupid, right? The wrong person can get a hold of that sort of system and
I mean,
decide that if you have a racist thought and what they determine is racism, then you get shocked.
well, I mean, on racism, all I got to say to that is racism is just the applied. It's just the application of in-group racial preferences.
Yeah,
That's
it's
all it
in group
is.
preference and tribalism, which is an inherent and evolved attribute of being a being on the planet.
Yeah,
So
it's literally a byproduct of evolutionary psychology.
yeah.
So everyone who likes to claim they love the science and love evolution, well, then why are you actively going against evolutionary psychology then?
Well, speaking of in-group preference, I'm going to
Yes.
switch topics here to an
Yep.
event that occurred in North America with a truck driver. I'm sure you guys have seen this.
Oh god, this.
Guys.
God damn it. Holly. Why you
Comment?
do this?
Comment.
Just. There's a reason why you don't do U-turns like that in a 44-ton truck.
Really? Weird. Why?
Oh, gee. Let's see here. Doing it in a place that, let's say, you don't actually are not meant to do. You literally crossed over on what looks like a dual carriageway
Mm-hmm.
with no separation lines.
Mm-hmm.
And also the fact that closing speeds are a thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because let's be frank here, unless you're in another 44-ton truck or a tank, you are not surviving hitting into the cargo container of a 44-ton truck.
Yep. And we've got some details about what happened and the people that were involved in a short little clip here. It's very sad.
Here's an update on the guy that made the illegal U-turn on the Florida Turnpike. He's officially been charged with 3 counts of vehicular homicide. And get this, he's been illegally living in the United States since 2018. Despite that, he managed to get a commercial driver's license in California, and he was actively working as a trucker. Now, alongside his criminal case, ICE has also placed a detainer on him, which means after his case in
I did find something out literally earlier today about this guy. Apparently, this is according to X. I'm gonna have to share this quick.
Mm-hmm.
Present this guy here. This is a tweet. Yeah, listen to this. Holy crap! Federal investigators administered an English language proficiency assessment to the driver of the semi who killed 3 people in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
He provided correct responses to just 2 of 12 verbal questions and only accurately identified 1 to 4 highway traffic signs.
Shit.
Yeah, that last one there, 1 to 4 highway traffic signs. I'm pretty certain over here, I imagine it's the same in Canada and America. You have to be able to identify significantly more traffic signs before you even get a standard driving license, let
Correct.
alone a what we call over here HGV license,
Yeah. So heavy
goods vehicle.
heavy goods vehicle.
Yeah, because we have
Yeah.
two. We have the light goods vehicle license and the heavy goods vehicle license.
Right.
So, if memory serves, light good vehicles allows you to drive. I think it's up to a 7.5 ton truck. It might be higher because of might be the same for like bus drivers or coach drivers because those tend to weigh between 9 to 12 tons.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure exactly. I have to get that double checked. Maybe someone could fact check me afterwards or during the live chat. And then you have the HGV license, which allows you to run 18 wheelers or 44-ton trucks, as they know over here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know, like, for instance, in Australia, they have the road trains, which I imagine has its own special license, and those things are mental. Those road trains in Australia, they are crazy.
So I don't know how it is over there in the UK, but I do know in Canada, especially, that there is a big problem. So big, in fact, that the CBC did a deep dive The CBC did a deep dive investigation into the trucking industry and the schools that are teaching people how to drive these massive vehicles and give them their CDL, and then in charge of testing them prior to releasing them onto the road. And it was a big inside job where people were essentially just getting taken out in a truck for maybe 10 hours, learning how to shift gears barely, if it has gears, because most are automatic now, and then just sending them out on the road with a class 1 CDL. And it was basically, if you have the money to pay for it, you get the license. It has nothing to do with being, good at driving a freaking vehicle like that. Now, we had a tragedy up here in Saskatchewan in Humboldt that happened years ago, where the guy just blew a stop sign and killed an entire coach load of hockey players, young men. And a few survived, one's, paralyzed from the waist down. It was a horrid tragedy. And there was a lot of period of time there where we weren't allowed to talk about this person, what he did, because he was just an innocent immigrant and you were a racist talking about it. I've noticed the distinct shift in the mentality of people when it comes to these drivers that have purchased their driver's license and that are now destroying our roads and killing people.
Yep, it's utterly disgraceful on every single level, and then people wonder why people have such negative tropes around certain people, and you just have to show them examples like this.
Yep. Well, and the comments, like the comments that are in the sections underneath these social media posts are all like from the most racist thing you can read to like, come on, let's do something about this, because this is obviously a problem. The thing I wanted to point out about this video that really struck me, like, yes, there's the accident, yes, there's the stupid fucking maneuver when he pulls across the interstate. There's all that, the tragedy, the loss of life, but his reaction to it and his partner's reaction to it, the two guys, he does the maneuver, his friend is just looking on his phone. They have the minivan crash into the side of their vehicle, and Buddy's just like, oh shit, and he has just deadpan, no reaction to the fact that there's been a terrible accident, and his friend is startled by the motion of the vehicle, but neither of them care. And I think that's my issue with integrating societies together, is that North Americans and I guess the Western world has placed such value on life that something like that strikes us as tragic. Whereas for other societies, they don't care about life or other people.
Yeah, it's almost like we have completely different civilizational moral values, and this
Mhm.
is why segregation is a good thing. And it always makes me laugh. People say segregation is a bad thing. I
Mhm.
always ask them, okay, then cool. If segregation is a bad thing, should nation states exist?
Well, if people are allowed to segregate, and if we're not forced to be inclusive and tolerant and have forced integration, people just naturally, and they will interconnect along the fringes and stuff like that. But people tend to always amalgamate into one area with people of either the same ideologies or the same culture or the same
Ethnicities?
mindset. We just,
Yeah, we see it
yeah,
everywhere. It doesn't matter
yep,
where you are, you see this everywhere. Like, it makes me laugh how United States was meant to be this pioneer of racial integration. I'm just like, hold on.
yeah.
Hang on a sec. You have literal names for towns where the majority of the demographics represented. Like
Mhm.
hell, how many Chinatowns exist in the United States? Like
Every city.
Korea towns,
Yeah,
Indian
Italian
towns.
town or
Exactly.
Little India village or whatever, right?
That is a prime example of literal balkanization and segregation
Mhm,
within your country.
mhm.
Like, how hard is that to understand? And this idea of, oh, everyone's Americans, we all wave the flag, yada yada yada. I'm just like, they don't actually. Okay, they're only there because of economic opportunities. But if those
Yes.
opportunities existed in their home countries, they wouldn't be in the West. It's
Well, that's,
well-known fact.
yeah,
Everyone wants to
like
try and deny this, but it's true.
the
It's
Indians
true.
that are coming here as refugees
Yeah,
from what?
refugees. Yeah,
From
yeah. Well,
what?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Did India and Pakistan start firing nukes at each other? Oh, what are they having finally the third civil war? You know, the third civil war, and the reason I say the third civil war is because they had two civil wars. The first one created Pakistan. There was the second one which created Bangladesh.
Mhm.
Quite literally, since they used to be all the same country.
Yep.
Like, you fuckers had two civil wars within 25 years of independence from the British Empire. Like, what refugee status are you running from exactly?
That's the thing that I don't understand. Like well, okay, number 1, what fucking war are you running from? And number
Yeah.
2, why is it always fighting aged men that are flooding into our countries? Like, I understand the women, the children, the elderly being taken as refugees because there is a war,
Yeah, well, I mean,
leaving the men behind to fight,
it's quite obvious because they're not
right?
real refugees, as been proven numerous times. And
What?
also, yeah, I know, shocking, but also it's been
Yeah.
well established that the men are sent there first to try and gain refuge there, and then they apply for a fucking asylum and fucking family asylums with the rest of their families.
Oh, yeah.
It's a
Yep.
well-known tactic. We saw this all throughout 2015 onwards with the freaking Syrian refugee crisis. But
Well,
again, all the people who advocated for the refugee crisis, none of those people have been held accountable. Angela Merkel, she hasn't been made accountable. She was happy. She effectively fucking was allowed to run away in
yep.
2022.
Yep.
She's effectively allowed to run away, and no one. And I haven't heard Jack from her since. What
Well,
about
it's
all
like
those?
Trudeau, the same thing. He was the one that began this, that completely relaxed all of
Yeah.
our standards that were in place. Like, Canada used to be a very hard place to emigrate to. We had very
Well,
strict border control and levels of acceptance when it came to bringing people into our country. Much harder than the United States. A lot of people went to the States because it was hard, it was easier to get there than it was to get into Canada. But
there was one exception to that rule. You basically got a free pass if you was English.
well, I mean, that's how I got over. But
Well,
I didn't get my Canadian citizenship until I was 7, 8 years old. I still had to live in
touche,
the country, right?
touche. But I'm just saying that because you're because obviously we all share the same head of state.
Yep.
I mean, technically speaking, they did have I think it was prior to 72.
Mhm.
Technically speaking, the Anglosphere, the English the English Anglosphere, excluding America, technically had free movement between all the states. So New Zealand, Australia, Canada, and Britain technically all had quote unquote free movement
Well, see, we
between
didn't, because
territories.
I emigrated over here in like 75. Yes,
Yeah,
I'm
but I
old.
did say prior to 72.
Right, but Canada was still the Dominion of Canada.
Yes, but the thing was, though, the reason that changed was because of Britain's membership with the Europe when Britain joined what we call today the European Union.
Right.
That's where all those severing ties literally cut out, which is why when everyone talks about the brain drain of Britain, and people said, "Oh, we needed Windrush to rebuild Britain." No, we literally you just imported a bunch of people from the Caribbean with no plans for them, while we were exporting a lot of their best brains and our young men to the English Commonwealth, specifically Australia for the most part. And that they never came back. And that brain funding throughout the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s was never fixed, which is a detail no one ever talks about. That's why, like, for instance, yourself, obviously you did it after that time period. Another Canadian YouTuber who's actually born in England. Turns out he was actually just not far from Luton. Richard Cooper, he's English. He emigrated to Canada as a kid. Which another example, and literally almost everyone he said he's never going to return to England ever again because of the crap's going on in Canada, and also he's supposedly on a federal watch list.
Oh, good for him. I don't think I'm on one.
No, I doubt that. I know I'm not on one because I was in enemy territory just a few months prior in France.
Okay, so you were able to leave the country. Okay.
Yeah, and I will say Eurostar I much prefer versus flying because so much less bureaucracy, and also they have less restrictions regarding what you can carry in your suitcase. Like none of those crazy liquid restrictions like shower gels and your shampoos.
100 mils per container, 1 liter per total.
Which is ridiculous. All thanks to 9/11.
Yep. Well, we as Canadians, we used to be able to travel to the United States by land or by air with just a Canadian driver's license.
Yeah, I know. That was a crazy time.
Freely move back and forth. And 9/11 happened, and of course, those people came from Canada.
Yeah.
And easily crossed. And now we have to have a full-fledged passport to be able to travel into the United States.
Yeah, which I do find quite ironic in many aspects.
Well, and I tell my American friends all the time, you guys constantly are ignoring the northern border because you think Canada's useless. Canada's, just a laughing stock. But due to that laughing stock and uselessness that you see us as, your northern border is open, and the Port of Vancouver, that's just north of your Washington state, is controlled by Chinese corporations that are shipping over containers and containers of fentanyl and all the ingredients that need to be manufactured. Middle of BC is where these things are being created, and they're being funneled across your northern border with no restriction, basically. I mean, they've caught a few, and they've pulled over a few trucks and stuff like that, but I think the volume is comparable as to what's coming up through the southern border with the cartels. It's just coming from China.
Yep, but but we all know the United States government doesn't truly care about that because, as we saw with the war on drugs, the CIA got a massive paycheck of black money through that with the black market accounts.
Oh yeah, it's pretty interesting. So
yes.
Speaking of retarded governments, we're gonna switch gears here to Nova Scotia. Have you heard about what's happening in Nova Scotia?
Yes, they're fining people crazy amounts of money who want to explore the local woodlands.
Yes. So I did notice in the chat here earlier, somebody did mention so the reason for the lockdowns has been changed so many times, and this is just Juno News talking about how the reason why the Atlantic premiers are pushing this ban. The first reason was because of forest fire threat. Like, we can't let people in the woods because it's tinder dry and it's going to go up at any second. The next one was because you might get lost in the woods and we don't have the resources to go in and rescue you. And then this third time, so they shifted the explanation. Basically, they're fining $25,000. That one guy got the $28,000 fine. He publicly went in there. I believe it was a publicity stunt, really, but it might have been a protest ticket. But yeah, so he framed it as going for the walk in the woods can cause a fire. You think it's ridiculous, but you could, go into the woods, break your leg. We're not going to come get you. We don't have any emergency responders. All they're doing is fighting the fire. So what the fuck is that 40% taxes going towards? Maybe, hiring some rescue workers. But like we talked about last week on our stream, the idea of the daddy government is going to come and save you at all times is the reason why this messaging works against people.
Yeah, I mean, quite frankly, I just laugh at this. I mean, I think people out there who said these COVID lockdowns are going to be used as a test model for climate lockdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's your example right here, and also the idea of being fined. I mean, I'm not sure if technically speaking, Canada still falls. I don't think the 1688 Bill of Rights still applies to Canada, technically speaking.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a clause in there of right to roam.
Well,
and technically speaking, that would violate your constitutional right to roam.
There is a bunch of people that are taking the government to task and to court, suing based on the constitutional right for freedom of movement. But the problem with our constitution is, number one, it wasn't ratified, and number two, all of the rights that are listed out, there's that tiny caveat at the bottom is basically me rewording it, but unless the government says so. So if the government deems that there's enough of an emergency, they can take away your rights.
Oh yeah,
if the government says so. Now,
but sorry. I was just going to say we do have another Canadian lady in the chat. Claudia, welcome, dear.
Mm-hmm. Hello, welcome.
We have some more Canadian representation, but yes, yep. And again, last I checked, when was the last time you heard of a king banning people from willing to roam in the forest?
Well, in Robin Hood, the evil king wouldn't let the people go into the forest.
Remember, Holly, come on out. Mm-hmm. Don't tell lies about the story of Robin Hood now.
Mm-hmm.
Listen. Walt Disney might be many things, but at least he respected the true law of Robin Hood, because Robin Hood didn't rob from the poor and give to the rich. He robbed from the government to give back to the people. And True. Prince John was effectively, ironically enough, the most taxed monarch that people think of. And it makes me laugh how leftists think Robin Hood is a leftist endorser icon when he's not, because Robin Hood is also a monarchist. Hell, if you ever watch Disney's Robin Hood, he literally starts to chant "Long live King Richard," referencing Richard Lionheart.
Yes.
And also not just that, he was technically arguably the very first original libertarian. No taxation without representation.
Mm-hmm.
So leftist, your biggest icon is actually, technically speaking, in two key categories, the most right-wing person in history.
I've heard that analogy before when it comes to Robin Hood.
But he is actually right-wing in the traditional sense, because he's a monarchist, and also he's also not in favor of, in the economic sense, he doesn't support crazy taxation. That's another thing, and also King Richard was actually liked by the public. He was actually liked by the public, and if you remember Disney's Robin Hood, he literally marries the maiden, and the joke with King Richard was, now I have an outlaw for an in-law.
Right.
So it's like, come on, guys. All right, Claudia, easy now. But yeah, honestly, like, just again, just all the Republicans out there, I'm just saying, like, please tell us all how voting is a good idea. Please, I like to see you, because as much as I don't like King Charles, he isn't the one who's told me that I don't have a right to roam.
That's your government. So
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Keir Starmer, and
here.
I would definitely argue, given the fact that Keir Starmer is a certified Marxist, and as you know, all Marxists are Republicans, some may argue, since he's Prime Minister, some would argue that is technically not only blasphemy, but that's arguably an act of treason. I mean, hell. I mean, we all saw what happened when Cromwell got into power, caused the Civil War, and then people realized, actually, you know what? We actually should have a king ruling us. It's a shame they didn't think, actually, maybe Parliament needs to go away.
Okay, I'm just going to look up this here. So Canada's Foreign Advisory website warns Canadians about driving in India and how they do not respect traffic laws and how dangerous their roads are because of it.
Well, you know what, Femi Kazi? You know what? There's actually a clip I want to get, actually. Holly, I do apologize if this gets flagged on your channel, but I have to share this. Let me just find the video. Here we go. That's it. I got it right here. This is from, obviously, Holly, you obviously know everyone's favorite automotive journalist, Jeremy Clarkson.
Yes.
Well, back in the 90s, he did a series called Motor World, Jeremy Clarkson's Motor World.
Right.
And he did an episode in India. This is back in 95.
Oh, okay.
What I'm about to show you is the driving test. But I'm going to have to put this on low volume because I worry about copyright. Even though this thing has 3.5 million views. Okay? Hopefully you can all watch this.
Interesting. So that explains why the culture is okay with the big rigs that we were talking about, the purchased CDLs over here in North America. They think that's the way you're supposed to do it.
Yeah. Now, I will say this right now, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure you can find it on YouTube, Jeremy Clarkson's Motor World. I highly recommend it. Just find the India episode. It's crazy. Like, I think at the time, I think it was like around 180 people die in India from traffic incidents. 180 people a day, which is crazy. And you see the way they drive; they have no disregard for, like, you know, what side of the road you're meant to be on, about like giving way or anything like that. Because within that same episode, I think Clarkson said that they do have a highway code, which they basically copied over from the British, which has been ours with very little changes since 1964.
Well, they left the English left it there.
Yeah,
along with the railroad.
Yeah, it was a carryover, right? But even after independence, we still let them have access to a lot of things we had left over because of carryover stuff. But what's funny is, at the time, I think it was over half the population of India are completely illiterate.
So there you go.
Yeah.
So this is the current travel.gc.ca/destination/India. After I skipped all the other stuff about don't travel there because of whatever reasons, road conditions and road safety are poor throughout the country. Most roads, including major highways, are poorly maintained. There's severe traffic congestion. Driving conditions may be hazardous during rainy season. Some roads are impassable. Drivers don't respect traffic laws. They're often aggressive or reckless. Fatal road accidents are frequent. They can lead to mob anger and assault. So if you don't die in the crash, the mob might get you.
Yep.
Yep.
And
Don't ride a motorcycle. Don't cross the street, even at the pedestrian crossings.
yeah,
God damn.
I know, and I'm just there like, remind me again why this is such a good idea. Please, ladies and gentlemen, anybody, can anyone hear?
Well, the best engineers and doctors are moving into the UK, aren't they, to help the NHS?
Yeah, totally. Funny, we've had this message since 2004, but yet the NHS continues to get worse.
Oh yeah, that's
But they
another
used
rabbit
to
hole.
constantly blame the Tories for this, even though the decline was happening under the Blair administration.
Yes,
And what's funny is,
Blair started it, didn't he?
yeah, and what's funny is, if you look at NHS staff, there's barely changed the numbers of, actual those practicing medical care. It's barely increased. But the thing that skyrocketed is the administration labor. It's skyrocketed out of control. And it makes me laugh. Like, people complain, oh, why can't you fix these things at the hospitals? Just like, well, especially to a lot of the Americans out there who love to say, oh, we need universal healthcare here. Yes, thank you, Claudia. Yeah, she always, we do privately talk about a lot of stuff that goes on in Canada, and she would know. She's born and raised there. Everything there is just getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And it's just like the people who try and make the economic arguments for mass migration. It's like, well, look at Canada.
Well, 100%.
Yeah, exactly. Like their economy has not improved in the last 10 years, despite all the freaking migration.
Yep.
But the only thing and everything's gotten worse. The housing crisis, the housing problems in Canada.
Well, you bring, like, just Alberta, for example, you bring 1 million people into a province and you build 120,000 homes.
Yeah.
What do you think happens?
The basic supply and demand economics takes over, and your house prices skyrocket out of nowhere.
Yep, like rent prices, house prices, all that stuff in the major centers, and of course the smaller areas that are closer to major centers are just as bad.
Yeah, and then people wonder why the likes of us have such negative views about these points of immigration. Why there's such a big push for mass immigration? It's like, this is why. There's the push for mass immigration, because mass immigration would fix all these problems.
Well, yeah, because you're bringing 1 million people into Alberta. 1 million people are going to start working as doctors and home builders and all that stuff, and they're just going to build themselves homes and go into our healthcare system, and they're going to become the doctors and nurses and all the infrastructure that we need to support those people. But do you think that happens? No.
Of course not.
Because reasons, right?
Of course not, because quite frankly, the end of the day, this idea that, oh, but they don't make things worse for you. It's like, well, hold on a sec, they do, because they cause wage compression, which is bad for the working class. They skyrocket freaking cost of living with the housing and rent and energy consumption. And also there's more demand for food, so food prices go up as well.
It's just
like, any gains in taxation you speak of doesn't really count, because if they're getting paid less, if they're causing wage compression, that means they're paying less in income taxes.
Yes. Yeah. So there's programs here in Canada where if you are working on a student visa and you're working for an approved employer, you end up with only having to pay 40 to 50% of the wages, and the government will pay the others. So it makes businesses, especially franchises, more apt to hire people on visas because they're only having to pay them $7 to $7.50 an hour out of their own labor wages, and the government subsidizes the rest. So when you look at taxation levels, yes, this person's working, but they're being taxed at a much lower rate, and then the rest of us taxes are supplementing their income. So there's a eventual end, like that guy in the video I shared was talking about. Eventually there's a compression to the point where everything collapses.
Exactly. And quite frankly, too many people go on about, oh, but we need it because of this dogma of line go up. And it's just like,
Yeah.
okay. And I had to try and explain this to people. It's like, listen, if your GDP goes up by 1%,
hmm
but your inflation's at 2%, are you richer?
No. And Canada's GDP has gone up 0.5%.
But what is that when adjusted for
Mm.
inflation?
I think our inflation officially is like 2.6, 3%.
So, on average, you actually are poorer by 2%.
Essentially, yes.
And this is what people don't seem to understand. It's like, listen here, you utter skulls. If you want to demonstrate how good your economy is, your GDP growth has to exceed inflation.
Correct.
And a lot of people don't seem to understand that fact. In fact, I would dare argue, and this is perhaps going to be radical here, and and don't get me started on the budget subject, because I remember someone tried, what's his name, Patrick B. David tried talking about listening to, I think it was Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in America, said his cure to dealing with politics is that if you increase the national debt by more than 3%, you should not be allowed to run for office. I'm like, no, I got a better idea. If you increase the national debt by 1%, you get the guillotine.
Yeah, go back to the good old days of the guillotine or the trebuchet. Or just tarring and feathering.
No. Personally, I think if I were to become king with the budget questions, I'd just be like, cool, you're gonna enjoy real communism. You're gonna meet homeless and you're gonna own nothing and be happy about it.
And you'll be
And
happy.
all your assets, all your capital, all your property will be seized and sold to the highest bidder.
Well, we can end up like these people. So one of the major fires in Nova Scotia that they're telling us to stay out of the woods for is due to a homeless encampment in the woods where the fire started.
So we're blaming the homeless now and hippies.
Well, the fire did start near the homeless encampment that the government is not talking about because that's an off-limits conversation. Also, these people are allowed in the woods because they're homeless. So where else are they going to go?
Well, I mean, I'm surprised they haven't packed up at like I'm surprised they haven't packed up at the HQ of the Liberal Party.
Oh no, they get quickly moved away from there because that's just bad for business.
I don't give a damn. They're the ones who claim they want to help the homeless.
Yep.
They should deal with it.
Oh yeah, helping the homeless is a lucrative business.
Yeah,
unfortunately, homelessness has spiked all over the Western world. Since the lockdown, since the economic devastation that people experienced during the lockdowns. People lost homes, businesses, relationships, families, and ended up homeless. So now in all of our major cities, every province, there is an issue where homelessness has become a profound issue. Now, it's interesting that the government doesn't want to talk about the issue with homelessness due to all of the reasons that we've previously discussed, economic downturns, joblessness due to cheap imported labor, unavailable homes for, reasonable prices. There's a lot of people that are ending up out in the woods, but it's one of those no things that you can't talk about. It's not an issue we don't talk about. So this is a prime example. One of the major wildfires that they're fighting out there that people aren't allowed in the woods for was started by a homeless encampment that we're pretending is not there, putting these people's lives in danger.
Always the way. But I don't know. I find the best way to get people to talk about it is for the people who don't wish to talk about it to be made victims of it, so they're forced to talk about it.
Yeah.
Bit like my country, where they talk certain talking heads on Twitter are trying to claim crime is not a bad thing now, But the moment they're victimized about it, they can't stop but not talk about it relentlessly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I'm
oh,
just
London is beautiful. We have picnics in the park, and I go for a walk and get a tea, and families
yeah.
everywhere laughing and giggling. I'm like, what part of London are you in? Are you in the super affluent white areas?
Yeah. But even then, those people actually end up, ironically, of complaining about various freaking crimes and like harassment problems. But
Yes.
they never ever specify which demographic's responsible for that. Ironically enough, like
Mhm.
how's the Ann Coulter quote go? We know the perpetrators are not white because they haven't said that they're white.
Yes. Well, it's just like when there's a dog bite. It's either a dog bite or a pit bull.
Yeah, which I do find ironic because they always say it's a pit bull, but half the time they don't even know what a pit bull is, and are just uh, classifying a whole bunch of specific breeds as pit bulls when that's not technically the case. But like, what I do find quite funny with that is if you ask people which breed, if you were to take a list of which breeds are so-called have the most cases of biting children, but then look
Mhm.
at which breeds the people have the most positive and negative relations to. Weirdly enough, there's a bit of a disparaging regarding what people like versus what the breeds represent.
Okay. That's
But
interesting.
yeah, like for instance, like over in Britain, I think the most common breed for where is an issue of children being attacked, it tends to be some sort of a Staffordshire Bull Terrier.
Yep.
But they're the most like common. They're like third or fourth as the most like likable breed out of people in Britain. Ultimately, Labradors and Golden Retrievers always consistently 1 and 2
Right.
consistently. But it's like, yeah, it's like third or fourth on the list. Whereas if you look at the bottom, which ones they're not liked, it's always Chihuahuas at the freaking bottom. And Chihuahuas don't have, let's say, the best reputation of being kind with children,
Mm.
especially the young ones. But but again, like these issues with, like I say, all across the Western world, like I just have no sympathy for these people. It's like, well, you voted for this, suck it up. You voted for
Exactly.
this. You voted for this.
Good point here, KJV, Michael. Asylum seekers never live in tents.
No, they
So
don't. They live in 4 5-star hotels at my taxes expenses.
yeah, the same thing here. So you can the best guarantee that the most of the people in those tents are not asylum seekers that have come here on our dime. So going back to the fires. So for all you tinfoil hat wearing friends out there, there's two things about these fires that have been brought forward. There's this one here. The Nova Scotia government once again approves aerial spraying of Nova Scotia woodlands with glyphosate. Now, glyphosate is an what is it? It's an anti-foliate. So essentially what it does is it kills and dries out the plants that they're then trying to clear out. Now, you've got high risk forest fire areas that are dry due to drought. You have underbrush that hasn't been cleaned or maintained in forested areas. Now the government decides that spraying a defoliant onto the area is going to be a great idea. So, yep. So they've got permits to start spraying glyphosate. Now, this is one of those topics that crosses political lines because the hardcore environmentalists are extremely anti spraying of these chemicals into the woods because it's a known carcinogen. It
Yeah.
injures wildlife, it poisons watersheds. But yeah, so this is something that's happening at the same time that there's huge fires and people are not allowed to go into the forests.
Yeah. Among
Yeah.
other things. Yeah, among other things. And I'm just there like again, like you people give me so much ammunition.
Mhm.
And also it makes me laugh like if you have a place that's susceptible to fires, why on earth are you creating the environment for such an event to happen? Unless,
Yes.
of course, you're completely callous, as reckless, or you're capricious, or you're just a sub 80 IQ individual. Now,
Mhm.
I always get a lot of flack in my personal side, where people always accuse me of why do I always assume malice rather than stupidity. It's a very simple reason for that.
Mhm.
Because every time you play the game, you believe the person is being stupid, you're giving them an excuse.
You're giving them the benefit of the doubt.
Exactly. Whereas
Mhm.
I always go with malice, because when people claim it's stupidity, they never actually prove that's the case. Whereas if you
Right.
go with malice, you can very easily prove that. And also,
Well,
a malicious person will always hide behind incompetence, because that's what malicious people do.
here's some malicious for you.
Please do tell.
The province of Nova Scotia lifted their uranium exploration ban in the very areas that are hotspots and cleared out.
Oh, jeez.
This is a uranium exploration ban that was in place for decades because people wanted to preserve the integrity of the beautiful Nova Scotia forests and creatures that live within that. And they didn't want to disturb. Well, the world's largest uranium deposits are located in Canada and parts of the US. Now, if you coordinate those areas with major floods that have happened and major forest fires, and then now these lockdowns, the glyphosate spraying and the devastation of the forests, well, this uranium exploration includes those areas as well. So is this incompetence or is this malice?
I'm going to definitely go with malice. Any
Yep.
objections from the chat? How about Claudia? Do you object to this, to me saying it's malice? I mean,
Yeah.
I know she doesn't. I mean, because Nova Scotia is on the east side, right?
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's on the far east.
Yes.
coast.
So yeah, because yeah, Claudia's on the west side of Canada.
Oh, she's in BC?
I won't say specifically where, but she's in the west side.
Okay. I am in the
So,
west
yeah.
side too.
Yeah, not to docs. I love that she posted she obeys the king, but yes. So yeah. I know it's an old trope, but follow the money, ladies and gentlemen. Just follow the money.
Yeah. So this is the most interesting part about this uranium exploration that people are losing their shit over. So the company will be awarded an exploration license for areas that are considered uranium hotspots but have been previously unexplored, such as the areas of the lockdowns and the devastating forest fires and the glyphosate spraying. This application, once is awarded to a company, applies to both Crown government land and private land. So if your private land is located in an area that a company wants to explore, with this permit, they have explicit access to your private property.
And what happened to the whole private property rights, you may ask?
Doesn't exist in Canada. Yep. So these are the three proposals that have been submitted already, because of course this is all on public record on the government website, novascotia.ca, and you just search uranium. This comes right to the website. So East Dalhousie, Louisville or Louisville, I'm not sure how they pronounce it there, and Millitbrook. So those are the areas where permits have already been request proposals have been sent in for those areas. Interesting, hey?
Yeah. You know, Holly, you're just giving me even more
More
ammunition.
fuel?
Yes, just more fuel. I mean, quite frankly, right now, if this was gunpowder, I'd have more gunpowder than supposedly what bloody Guy Fawkes had regarding the failed attempt all them years ago.
Mhm.
I mean, Jesus Christ, I have enough fuel to get to I could get to Pluto and back several times over.
Yeah, seriously, right?
Like
So
that's how much fuel you're giving me to this.
you mentioned this earlier, and I wanted to share this little
Yeah.
clip here. So just a little look back onto what happened. What happened to us back then?
We learned from this COVID crisis, we will be applying to the climate crisis.
Yeah, that little Freudian slip there.
What we learned from the COVID crisis, we will be applying to the climate crisis. And all of us crazy tinfoil hat, crazy people, conspiracy theory, we're all screeching that in the next 2 to 3 years, there are going to be climate lockdowns.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, we called it. We called it, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, what was the meme we used to say to each other, Holly, back then?
Oh, I can't remember.
What's the difference between a conspiracy theorist and the news?
6 months.
6 to 18 months.
Yep. Yeah, this was a few years, so I mean, I give them that. But yeah, so, and I remember I remember talking about this in the chat that you and I were in. I'm like, okay, lockdowns are over, great, but next for Canada is going to be the climate lockdowns. I can guarantee you, we are going to be the first ones to do it. I thought it was going to be during the heat dome that happened when a bunch of Canadian cities just like burst into flames for no reason, and like our entire western provinces were on fire, and we were experiencing temperatures that were incredible, but not the hottest we've ever experienced.
Yeah.
And there was like AC failures, power outages, all kinds of stuff because of the demand on the system. And I'm like, oh, they're going to lock us down. They're going to lock us down. But they didn't do it then. But they put the fear of it into us. It's like, oh, you got to be scared of the big, hot, scary sun, the big, scary wind and rain.
Well, as Claudia says in the chat, please no more vaccines, global warming vaccines.
Yeah, that could be coming too.
You know, actually, I do have a carbon footprint vaccine for the environmentalists.
Oh,
it's not your typical vaccine. It involves a plastic bag and asphyxiation.
Well, I mean, they're not breathing out any carbon anymore, so that helps reduce their footprint, right?
Exactly. So the way I see it,
that's acceptable. I think that's an acceptable course of action to reduce the carbon footprint of some.
And that is one of many reasons why I should be as king. Nobody else. See right there, I had a solution. See, there was a problem. I provided an effective solution.
Yes, you did actually. Okay, so I have this last one here. Now, here on Real Housewives of Alberta, we like to end off the stream with a little light entertainment to kind of shake the yuck off, so we can go into our day in a better mood, not just full of doom and gloom and everything fucking sucks, because I mean, everything sucks, but you are responsible for what's in your own head, what's in your own house, and what's in your own community, and that's all we can control. So I've got something special because we have a male guest on, and there's a lot of men in our chat that are kind of tired of Rocky's boyfriend, Johnny. I'm sure you guys know who Johnny is. And Kizza, I will not subject you to Johnny. I found this video, and this is for the boys.
Okay. Very impressive.
It's pretty skilled young ladies, hey?
Very, very, very. I'm going to think that I was going to jokingly first say they're Brazilian, but then I almost forget the American women's national team has won 4 of the last 5 World Cups. Although, in the recent tournament with the Euros, my country took revenge against the Spanish.
Oh, and Cat Lady Genocide is correct. Starting to see why Adolf went to South America.
Yes. He knew about the Latina question before it became mainstream.
Yep.
Although I do, yes. Yeah, I do like... Yeah, I do like the hilarious idea that the road to El Dorado was a CIA psyop to get a bunch of young, impressionable Western men, boys who grow into men into Latina women.
Okay, and unfortunately, KJV Michael, which is one of our regulars, who is one of our greatest fans, he has requested Johnny. So, Kizza,
Which
get
Johnny
ready.
is this? Okay, let's hear it.
This is Rocky's boyfriend. Are you ready?
Oh, baby, when you talk like that, you make a woman go mad. So be wise and keep on reading the signs of my body.
I blame the chat. We know he's gay.
How do you know this?
Oh, come on. He's super handsome. He has a skincare routine.
And
he gives off that air. And we've been told many times by the chat that he is. That's our Johnny. And we love him. He's our mascot.
Again. Where is the proof?
It's
Where is the proof?
The proof that he's gay?
Yes, where is the proof?
I don't know. You'll have to ask the chat that.
Again, claiming a man who's handsome and has a skincare routine is a homosexual. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna call bullshit on that.
Well, I'm gonna save this clip and I'm gonna play it for my friend Chantel. And if anybody says that to us, we're gonna play it again because we have a man's opinion on whether or not he's gay.
No. My mentality is, unless you have proof that he has got on his knees for the sausage, or is happily enjoying being smashed up the thermal exhaust port with the sausage, sorry. Or if you definitely heard them speak and they have that quote-unquote complexion. You all know what I mean by the complexion in the voice.
Yes, we do.
You know, unless you have definite confirmation of all of that. Sorry, but I ain't buying it.
I don't want to do research into that, so.
I mean, these days, people literally throw around like the infamous F slur left, right, and center to the point where I'm just like, just knock it off, guys. Like hell, I've seen what people call homosexual these days, and I'm just like, really? Like hell, people would say the beach volleyball scene from bloody Top Gun. They'll say, "Oh, that's purely homosexual as hell." I'm just like, really?
Here's a question: do you believe that it's only gay if you take it?
What? Only gay if you take it? Oh, so is Cat Lady there trying to use the prison scenario? The prison loopholes, I like to say.
Yeah. Is it gay to be on top or on the bottom?
I would argue it's homosexual regardless.
Well, yes, but if you had to pick one.
I would argue it's homosexual regardless.
See, I would say it's gay to be on the top because you have to stay hard.
Okay, then. So by that logic, then, if we're going to swing it to heterosexuals, any man who likes, let's say, cowgirl with the woman in question, are you trying to insinuate that he is less gay than the man who's on top and missionary?
No. I'm calling them a top because they're the one that does the inserting. They're the pitcher.
Right. The dominant one, as they say. The one that's on top.
Yeah.
But the bottom is not because they're enjoying themselves, having a good time.
A bottom, I mean, you can be gay to be a bottom, but if you're talking about prison gay, if you're the bottom, you're not enjoying it. You're being forced to unfortunate circumstances.
And
anyway.
you know, on a really sour note, people talk about, obviously you had those people try and do gay conversion therapies.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I would dare argue private schools, the Navy, and frickin' prison are technically gay conversion camps.
Conversion 2?
Yeah, conversion 2.
Quite possibly.
I mean, I'm just saying there's a heightened levels of homosexuality in all three of those categories.
That is true.
I mean, are we going to claim it's an environmental case, or is it going to be? Is it nature or is it nurture?
Is it born
But
this way, or is it?
I mean, personally, when it comes to personally from regarding details I know about the adult industry, I'm going to say there's a huge amount of nurturing in that aspect. Huge amounts of nurturing.
Yeah, I would agree.
But we can't do social science investigations into that because of it's a massive taboo subject. Even though one of my favorite statistician would easily do a big video on that, Aidan Paladin.
Well, there has been studies done into it, and we will never know what the results were
Yeah, because
because
it's
there are no
not
knows.
no, because that would be politically incorrect.
Mhm.
And I would dare say, if you care about political correctness, well, then you're a communist.
Yeah, 100%.
But yes, we are slightly overtimed.
Yes, yeah, we're slightly over time. We got to sneak in some Johnny after the video that I purposefully uploaded for you, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you
I could
enjoyed
do
your
with.
time this evening with
Oh,
us.
it's always a good time. Ollie, I've always have a great time with yourself, and I know someone's definitely going to take that way out of context.
Oof.
But sadly, Claudia here, because she was late, she missed out on the fun with the WNBA and dildos.
Oh, yeah, Claudia, if you wanna rewind to the beginning and, watch some of our, videos we share at the beginning, that's what you get with the Real Housewives of Alberta. It's all about dildos. And Johnny at the end.
Of course, but yes, I mean, obviously it's a great time. So yes, to all the new people who've come to the channel, please do like, share, and subscribe because Holly and her fellow co-hosts are trying to get at least 2,000 subscribers by
Oh,
the end of the
wonderful.
year.
Thank you.
Eventually. See, I'm a good show. I'm a great guest, and I
You
shill.
are. Is there anything that you wanna shill for yourself after you've done a wonderful job of shilling for me?
I mean, right now I don't have any plans for next appearances. Like my quote unquote podcasting on side. Like I haven't done the one in 3 months, and
Mm.
to be honest, trying to maintain momentum for that is kind of like boring because we're just basically going over the same subject. So I was like, yeah, I think I'll can it for now.
Mm.
But hey, if I happen to, actually, you know what? I do have something to show. I'll just show my Discord, my private Discord.
Oh, okay.
Just get a copy link here.
And you have a Twitter?
Yes, I do have a Twitter X. Yeah, which I've recently gotten blocked by a few people. I end up having a nice little back and forth argument with a third wave feminist.
Nice.
Who this is hilarious, right? In their bio it says anti-sex work, but they support sexual liberation.
That's yeah.
Please, can anyone here square that circle for me?
Yeah, was it round hole square peg? Make that fit.
I mean, you could if you file it down, but just post it in the chat. That's my Twitter account, and then I'll just share my Discord invite link. But yeah, basically, anyone curious about rules and that, basically, there's just one rule: I'm the king, and everyone else is a royal subject. Nothing else.
No, and we accept that.
And also, I don't care for drama. I do not care for drama. But yes, honestly, that Twitter feminist who I had a back and forth with, oh man, that was hilarious because simply because of the fact that I'm having this back and forth with them, and she just seemed to be all aboard the political lesbian train without, I don't think they even realized it, and all because of that bloody one clip that's been viral of that Mormon, that chick Riley. Just because of that, just having a back and forth with just conversation with people, and it's just like, really? And
yeah,
at that point, this person wanted to address the accountability aspect of why feminism and women fuck the dating market.
Essentially. That we don't know what we want And as a woman, I will highly support that statement.
Most people don't freaking know what the hell they want. Because if they did, they wouldn't be so freaking wrong and stupid.
Yeah, true. So on that note, I want to leave on a high note. Yeah, so that is the end. Thank you so much for joining me today. And thank you to Shawnee for joining. And for Rocky, you missed out.
Yeah, especially given a man's opinion, because, you know, that's a rarity on your stream.
It is. And we want to do more of that. So we'll have you back next time you're available, because I do know it's like, what, 3 o'clock in the morning there now?
Well, I am available next week, thanks to because I'm in the middle of like a 3-week break from work. So that's the only reason I've been able to do more content creation on other channels.
Right.
Like recently, a new guy I went on live with last week was called the King's Council podcast, the one I told you about, where we talked about Hag Maxing and Nick Fuentes.
Yes. Yep.
So yeah, it's not like the COVID days where I could be here, there, and everywhere shilling. Yeah, I miss those days.
Yeah, I miss those days too for that.
I know, because we had the show with what's his face, Jeremy and Delaney.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
you know, the old centrist shows. We had Bill and Tank. You know, the ends justify the
Bill
memes.
and Tank, ends justify the memes, and Weekly Narrative was always good. But
yeah, Weekly Narrative, yeah.
We now have the Real Housewives of Alberta that streams every Tuesday, 6:30 Mountain Time. We try to make it every Tuesday, and we've been fairly consistent since we've started. I think we've only missed or had to delay a few weeks here and there, but we always we're always here for you. And thank you so much, chat, for showing up today. I appreciate you very much. And I'm going to say the tagline: we'll see you next Tuesday. Bye, guys.
Take care, all.
Maybe the next step in your healing journey is to go around calling people fucking cunts. That is all for today's therapy session. I'll see you next Tuesday.